Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast, a place where we focus on the business side of art to help you attract more customers, increase profits, and ultimately live a life of creativity and financial freedom. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and this week's episode of May Mural Month is a good one. It features multi-passionate business owner and creator Gretchen Leggett. This woman has my heart with her multifaceted pursuits in business. I really enjoy talking with muralists in general about painting large scale and everything that goes with that. But give me a muralist with another thriving side business on top of it, and I could just feel the excitement bubbling within my brain. Because that's what I do. I have, the Artist Academy and everything that goes with it. And there's so many things on the back end of the Academy that you just wouldn't think of. And especially when I started this, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do videos and it's going to be great. And it's like, oh, no, there's so much more on the back end. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just letting you know it's a lot more than lets on. And when you think about starting a sticker company, I would think, oh, let's just, create stickers of my paintings. It'll be great. And it's like, oh, no. And so I feel very seen and I just can relate to whenever Gretchen talks about finding fulfillment and figuring out marketing. And it's like this whole other business on top of muraling that she's figured out. And it is not for the lighthearted. I talk to artists who want to start a side business and that's kind of what they think. They're like, oh, I'll just do this and it'll be great. And it's like, oh, no. It's a whole other thing to start a business with a different customer. You need to learn how to talk to them. It's just a whole other thing. And when you paint a mural with dimensions that are much longer than it is tall, like something really long, how annoying is that to film or photograph vertically, right? So like taking a horizontal image and making it look cute, within Reels, which is a very tall, thin way of creating video, it's less than ideal, right? However, Gretchen had the idea of taking her horizontal mural and making a sticker out of it to wrap around reusable water bottles. So she took a mural and was like, I think I have an idea with this. And that idea grew into a full-blown business with entirely new manufacturing, shipping, and marketing components to make up what is now Hydrascape stickers. And this business now gives Gretchen passive income and in turn, extra time to spend having fun with her outdoor adventures and her other community-based artistic endeavors. She also does mural festivals. This woman has a lot on her plate, but she has fun with it. And so I think you're going to enjoy this week's episode with Gretchen Leggett. So let me know. Have fun with it. Hello, I'm here with Gretchen, and I'm excited to talk to you about your very interesting mural / so many other things that you have going on in this art world. So tell us how you got started.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It all started with a career in arts education. I was an art teacher for 13 years in the independent and public school systems. And it was there that I had this great balance between getting to not only share my passion for the arts with my students, but it provided me time to explore my own art creation. I used my weekends and my summers and the ample amount of time off to really dive into my own explorations of what my creative process was and art that I was interested in. It was during that time that I started out with coffee shop shows and just smaller, more tangible shows that a lot of practicing artists will kick off their career with, and began to pick up commissions here and there and getting more interest from folks. I began diving into some design work, which got me in touch with business owners and whatnot. And it was one of those business owners who asked me to do a mural on their building. And that was uncharted territory for me, but I graciously agreed to do this small piece. And it was while I was painting that. Now, this was small compared to the work that I do now. I was using a stepping ladder. I was using bucket paint. It was only 10 feet tall by 50 feet wide, but it was on a main street. And it was during that experience that I started receiving really positive feedback from the general public. People were driving by honking their cars, saying, "Thank you, I love it." I had construction workers walking by, stopping in their tracks, saying, "Whoa, this mural just made my day." And people working in that building who were like, "Wow, I can't wait to come to work tomorrow to see what else has happened to this building." And for the first time in my art career, I realized that my art was creating positive impact on my community. And I think that art can be such an insular practice. It can be just, you're on your island. You're just creating for yourself and you're not getting much feedback aside from, every once in a while at a show, someone says, "I like this," or someone buys your art. But for the first time in my creative practice, I was really making a big difference. I was, shaking ground with my work. And that really, really, really fired me up. And I was finding, I encountered newfound meaning behind my work. And so I started applying for more RFPs for murals. My next mural was larger. It involved articulated boom lifts, getting 30 and 50 feet in the air. So I was beginning to forge my own path with learning the machines and the equipment that I would use to make big murals. And my third mural ever ended up being the largest in the state of Washington. It was the length of 2 football fields by 60 feet tall. This project was absolutely terrifying to me. I had no idea how I was going to bite this off. I kept on telling my acquaintance, Nick, who commissioned this project, he said, "You've got this." And I said, "No, I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how to do this mural." And my strategy for that was finding an ally, finding a mentor within this project. Because something that I've learned throughout business and throughout art is we don't have to do it alone. We seek mentors. We seek people who know the practice better than we do. So I cold called a person whose art I had admired and whose murals I had admired, but I did not actually know him. His name is Max McNett. I cold called him. I said, "Max, this is Gretchen Leggett. You don't know me, but I love your art. And I would like to talk about a job." And he said, "Oh, I know you. I love your art." I'm like, "Great. So you can have a beer with me." And I brought this project up to Max, and here I was shaking in my shoes, even thinking about the scale of this tentative mural. And his response was, "What? It's that big? It's 22,000 square feet? The bigger, the better. We've got this." And he broke down the logistics of how one might approach taking on a project of this monstrous scale. And together, Max and I were able to bite it off. And within that month-long project, my career shift changed from an educator to a muralist. I really grew the confidence and picked up a lot of interest in my practice as a muralist. It was covered by the local news agencies. NPR did a little piece on this mural because it was just so big. And I ended up throwing in the towel on my teaching career during that mural and set forth on a path as a muralist. And it was during that mural, I was looking at this very, very, very large mountainscape that I was painting. This design for this large mural was an abstract rendering of the North Cascades mountain range. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, this would be a really cool sticker. But who would need a sticker this wide? And the scale of it, it was insanely wide. And I'm like, this would be a neat sticker, but what would the application of it be? And I'm sipping on my Hydro Flask while looking at this mural, thinking about stickers. And it was in that moment that I just had this spark emerge. And I thought, whoa, this sticker could overlap itself as it wraps around itself around water bottles. And it could create a foreground, a middle ground, and a background as it wraps on top of itself. And in that moment, I developed the idea of the infinity sticker. And I came up with that idea and I immediately went home, scoured the internet looking to see if anyone had come up with this idea yet, because of course everyone has reusable water bottles and everyone likes stickers. but has anyone combined designed a sticker specific for water bottles? And needless to say, no one had done it yet. So I set forth in learning anything and everything I could about developing a business, trademarking, patenting, and with that emerged my company, Hydroscape Stickers.
So cool.
That's the story of how I became a muralist and a sticker entrepreneur.
You're a very good storyteller. Just as you're going and you're just using different pitches and we can all visualize what you're saying. I'm like, this is podcast gold. Thank you so much. This is
Oh,
great.
I do like storytelling. I'm my father's daughter. He's a great storyteller.
Oh, I can tell. Okay, great. How long ago did that light bulb idea happen?
That was in 2018. So I hit the ground running. My mural career organically developed, and I really capitalized on a lot of opportunities. So I guess, yeah, I have a two-part story, the murals and the stickers. I think the murals came naturally. I saw a deficit of quality contemporary street art in the community where I lived at the time. There were a lot of blank buildings, a lot of neglected, abandoned walls covered in vandalism. And businesses were paying exorbitant amounts of money to get the vandalism cleaned off of their buildings, off of their walls. And I literally started knocking on doors saying, have you all ever thought about having art on this wall? It will save you cleanup dollars and it will create a point of interest on your building. And, I had these 3 murals in my portfolio, and businesses immediately bit, and it spread like wildfire. And I am pleased to say that that has been a catalyst for an emergence of street art in Bellingham. And it's evolved into some really phenomenal placemaking projects. I would say the third part of my story, which we can dive into later, is being co-founder of a nonprofit that focuses on placemaking in communities that are rapidly growing. And it's called Paper Whale. And we have developed a mural festival in Bellingham. So we have dozens and dozens of internationally acclaimed muralists who are now painting walls in Bellingham. So it all spurred with this desire to beautify abandoned buildings and really create a diverse voice in the public art domain.
Okay, we have so much to talk about. All right.
We do.
Yes. Okay, Bellingham, what state is that?
I'm in Bellingham, Washington, so upper left USA. We're about an hour and a half north of Seattle.
Very cool. Okay, so I love that you pitched your way into this at first. And I know I've pitched several things, and I know the first question is going to be what happens when somebody tags it, right? And so what was your response to that?
When there is good art up on a wall, turns out vandals don't really want to tag it. They like blank walls. But needless to say, there are people who are having worse days than me, and they just feel the need to deface beautiful things. And, there's a few things that you can do to protect your murals. Number one is you can spray anti-graffiti varnish on them. There are a few brands. The most effective brands are really thick, almost marine grade protective overlays. And think of it like a clear gym floor, like it's really thick rubber, marine grade. And that's going to be the safest varnish that you can paint on, but it creates a different texture. It's almost a glossy, very rubbery medium.
Do you know what it's called?
There's different brands. I know that Sherwin-Williams has a really high quality brand. That being said, that's, I would say, more appropriate for a highly, highly detailed, smaller mural. Like, let's say you're doing a very complex, very nuanced illustration of an animal or a human portrait for your mural. And it's going to be a real tough mural to repaint if somebody were to vandalize it. A smaller piece like that would be appropriate for this varnish. Now, there are other anti-graffiti coats, like Vandergaard makes one that you can just spray on. And I've had mixed luck with those. I've found that you spray it on and some tags can spray off easily. Others just kind of smear on it. And the problem is now that this coat is on there, I can't touch it up because I've put this anti-graffiti coat on. So for my works, because they are much larger and a little bit easier for me to paint over, I just go back and I touch it up using the original colors and paints that I used. So I know that a lot of artists just prefer that method of just going back and painting back over it. Not a huge problem though.
Do you charge extra when this happens, or do you just see it and you're like, I need to put it back to how it was?
It depends if vandalism is a problem. I mean, those anti-graffiti coats, they're quite expensive. It's $100 a gallon, if not $300 a gallon for some of that higher grade, the marine grade stuff. So it depends if that's built into the contract, depending on the subject that I'm painting. Otherwise, I do offer a 3-year upkeep, 3 years of upkeep in my mural contracts. And then beyond that time frame, I charge hourly to go back and touch them up.
Very nice. Okay, good. It's good to know how different people
Yeah.
can handle
Good
that.
practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So on to the stickers. Love the
Yes.
idea. Love that you did it. You did the research and everything. So I was looking at your stickers and the first thing it says is dishwasher approved. And I'm like, fantastic. So, because that's one of my first things that I was thinking. But how did you land upon a sticker company? Do you print the stickers? Do you have somebody else print them? Do you print in bulk? Like, what are the details?
That is a great question. As I was developing this business model, there was the option of buying my own printers and manufacturing my own stickers. And that would save me a lot of money in the long run. But that would also require me to get a warehouse space. It would require me to payroll employees to be operating these machines. And if one of the machines broke, then what's my backup, right? I travel a lot and I just was jumping forward to this thought of myself having a huge, like an order for REI, with 1,000 stickers that I needed to fulfill and my machine breaks and I'm up all night trying to problem solve it. And that idea just was giving me a headache.
Smart.
So I like to think about like Nike. Nike still doesn't manufacture their own shoes. They outsource because they want to spare themselves the trauma of doing their own manufacturing. I'm an artist, not a techie. I don't know how to fix broken printers. I don't want to be working on the manufacturing end of things. So when I was small, I was getting my stickers printed at a local company. Now, there are sticker manufacturers like Sticker Mule, which are very cheap. They are international. They have a fairly fast turnaround, and that was an option. Or I could go, find a manufacturer in China and pay so much less. But instead, I really wanted to work locally. That was a huge value that I had. I wanted to work with people that I knew. So I had that hands-on ability to work on color proofs with a fast turnaround so that I had the control. And I really wanted to support the local economy. That's something that's really important to me. So I do pay more to work locally with a small business, but we work hand in hand and have developed a great rapport. We have grown together. We've negotiated our contracts together as we've grown, and it's just been a really, really beneficial relationship to have with these local sticker printers. They're called Stickers for Days if you are in Bellingham and want to support local. And at that time, they were 1 block away from my studio. So that was just great. Like we had a 0 carbon footprint. So it was pretty awesome.
Okay. So you go to them with your design and you do test prints. Do they print on demand or do you order a bulk of them and do you ship them? Do they?
Great questions. We are working in large quantities right now. So we'll print in sets of tens of thousands.
Wow.
Initially, it started out just printing 50 at a time and on demand. But obviously, volume discounts are huge. And so a company of our scale now, we're doing bulk prints. I have my own distributor. When I began the business, I was doing everything from sticking the labels onto each sticker to making 5 trips a day to the post office. I was hand printing out every single label for every single customer and taking these individual boxes to the post office. And that was the first independent contractor that I hired was a distributor. And they are a contracted employee of my company, Hydroscape Stickers. And I pay my distribution manager, Ira, per item. So he makes a percentage of every single item that is shipped. and he makes an hourly rate on packaging and dealing with EDI, which is electronic orders, which are, invoicing EDI. So he's just been quintessential to this business in moving items in bulk. In the holiday months, we will be moving a few hundred packages a day, and it's a lot of work. So yeah, he's been essential to have on board from the start.
Very cool. Oh man. Okay. What was the first big order that you got that you're like, whoa?
That is a two-part answer. The first really big client that I had was REI, which was my ultimate business goal. When I created my hypothetical business plan, I did not write out an official business plan because I didn't know anything about business when I began. But when I was creating my inner goals of my business, REI was like the top of the chain. Like, I want to get into the best outdoor store in the nation. Like, that is my goal. And only 6 months into my business, I saw that they were having, it was called an innovators conference, which was basically a weekend for small businesses to pitch their items to the buyers at REI. And I had to create a video to apply. It was a pretty tedious process, but I was accepted to pitch my stickers. So the drive down to REI, I was in Kent, Washington at the time. I was listening to the podcast, How I Built This, which was like my pump up. It's like, okay, how do business owners really do this? So that was my encouraging music to listen to, Guy Raz. And I went in there, and within 20 minutes, I had secured a deal with REI, which was just this Shangri-La of business for me. So that was absolutely massive. And that's when I really had to step up my game for production, because when you're working with these larger stores, you get penalized if your order is short. You get penalized if your order is late. You get points deducted, or you get charged $150 here and there. So every time you screw up, it's really throwing off their business chain. So you really have to be on point. So that was just this really essential moment for me to step up my game and really put on my big girl shoes and be a real business owner. So that was pretty cool that opportunity was out of the gates. And there is something called an umbrella effect. When you get into a box store like that, other buyers from smaller stores will go in there, see your product, and want it on their shelves. So although that was my first big retailer contract, a ton followed. It was a waterfall effect. A ton of businesses then picked us up, which was pretty neat.
Very cool. Did they ask you if you had production capabilities in the first time that you talked to them when they ordered from you? Or were you like, we can do this, I will figure this out?
Andrea, my approach to business has been it's smoke and mirrors until you finally do it. So yeah, I went in there letting them know that I was fully confident about our production abilities, even though I really, it's like that mural. Like, I'll just say that I'm a muralist until I can actually prove to myself and my clients that I really am. So that was my approach. I'll just make promises and I will then it's on me to fulfill them. So
yeah. Okay. Well, congrats to you. That is amazing. And I think it's so inspiring to hear that. And just to hear the back end of you get penalized and then the umbrella effect that you shared too. Those are two things that I just didn't really think about when it comes to just getting a step up like that.
Yep. So that was part one of the expansion of my business. Part two, now that we're in REI and we're in all these retailers, I was doing all of the marketing for my own business. I was nailed to Instagram, glued to my website, trying to make it as sexy as it possibly could. But I'm not a marketing person. I don't do that. I don't do reels. I'm an artist. So, I had my distributor as my first contractor, and my next hire was a director of digital marketing. So I put out the call on LinkedIn, on Craigslist, on all of that, and was just getting an assortment of random people around the world. And it just didn't really feel like what I needed. I wasn't finding that person who really knew me, knew the stickers. It was a pretty abstract pool of applicants. So instead, I reached out to my Instagram community. And I said, Hydroscape Stickers is hiring a digital marketer. And it was there that, fans of the company, people who are in the outdoor industry, started applying. And I ended up getting 3 amazing candidates. And so trying to decide between the 3 of them, I ended up doing a paid project. I gave each of these candidates a few $100s, and I said, show me what you can create within this budget. Like, what would you produce for this company? And all 3 of them came back with some amazing content. And one of them created videos of hands wrapping my stickers. And great videos, really liked them. And I said, I'm going to give you a little bit more budget. Like, you have 2 videos here that I think are exceptional. Let's put some money into paid ads on, in the metaverse. It wasn't that at that time, but let's do some paid ads for Facebook and Instagram and do some A/B comparisons between these videos. I gave him like $50 per ad. It wasn't a lot, but let him go to the winds. And a few days later, maybe the next week later, I was preparing for a trip for Mexico, little vacation. And the night before we were leaving, my phone starts pinging during dinner. And it says, you have a sale, you have a sale, you have a sale. And I'm like, whoa, cool. Like, maybe those ads, he launched the ads and they're working. And so I, put my phone away and finished dinner. And after dinner, I pick up my phone and I'm getting 2 to 3 sales every single minute. And it felt really strange, very buggy. And they're coming in hot and they're only ramping up. And I'm getting, pretty squeamish. Like, I'm leaving town tomorrow and this is more sales in the last hour than we get in a month. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I think that there's a glitch. So I'm kind of ignoring it and it keeps going. And I'm laying in bed that night. It's like 11:30 at night. Oh, and by the way, I did look to see the source of the sales and it said unknown. So I could see that they were not coming from the metaverse. They were not coming from the paid ads, hence really solidifying this idea that there was a glitch in the system. And I'm just really kind of tucking this away, like ignoring it because it was really too much to ingest, especially because I'm leaving the country the next day. And I'm laying in bed and I get a ping from my cousin who's an artist in Portland, Oregon. And Andrea texts me and she says, hey, congrats on going viral on TikTok. And I said, I'm not on TikTok. And she's like, haha, no, seriously, congrats. I'm a little jealous. And I respond to her, no, seriously, I'm not on TikTok. That's for teenagers dancing, right? Like, I don't have that app. I've never made eye contact with it. I don't know what you're talking about. And she screenshots. And there is a Hydroscape sticker company on TikTok. And there is one video on it. And it is the video that intern had made. And I immediately write him, oh, and it has 5 million views on this one video that was released earlier that evening. And I write him and I say, Mark, did you create a TikTok account for my company? And he responds with one sentence, it broke the internet. So that night, we had over 11 million views of this TikTok video. It went viral. My company went viral. And we were completely floored, flabbergasted, and terrified because we got more orders in 12 hours than we had in the entirety of our entire company. And I had no idea how to approach this. So what I did that morning before I left for Mexico, I went to Trader Joe's. I bought 2 bottles of top shelf liquor. I brought them to my printers, my manufacturers. And I said, gentlemen, have you seen what happened last night? And they said, oh yeah, we know. And I go, I'm leaving the country. Do you have this? And they said, we are going to be hiring extra hands and we will not stop printing until we get this taken care of. And I went to my distributor, bought him a bunch of gift certificates to the coffee shop he lived above. And I said, Ira, do you have this? And he goes, I'm not slowing down, because everyone was working, they're not on an hourly base. They're making as much money as we are selling, and producing. So everyone worked their tails off. And needless to say, TikTok flagged us because they thought that there was a bug because it went so big so quickly. So they shut our account down within 24 hours, which was a blessing and a curse because the orders stopped coming, which was more than we could handle in a month. So that was our introduction to the global D2C market, direct to consumer market. So that was 2 years into us being a business. So, we got our big B2B bump with REI and all the ripples of that. And then the TikTok viral boom really sent us into outer space. And we've been just reeling from that ever since.
Very cool. Man, that's just such an awesome story. And so inspirational to just hear that, the small videos that we make can actually do something and create sales. And you make me want to hire a person for ads.
Yeah, needless to say, Mark, who created those videos, did not get the job. I created a unique position for him. So now he is my TikTok content creator, which I had absolutely no intention of creating a position for, but he got that job.
Well deserved.
Yeah, very, very, very well deserved. And he's been fabulous ever since. Now, it's an interesting thing in business because TikTok, that was in 2019, or it might have even been early 2020, a time when there were not a lot of businesses on TikTok. Like there were none. There were no businesses on TikTok at that time. And since then, the market has absolutely flooded. Every single business is on there. It's very spammy. You have the TikTok store on there now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're no longer the big fish in the little sea. We're just one more business on there. So those sales have slowed down, which is a reality. You can't have that golden year forever. So it's just been an interesting thing to digest how that whole platform has evolved and changed.
For sure. Where do you get the most amount of traction or orders from? Like which platform or what way of marketing? Because I agree with when I first got on TikTok, I was booming. I was big fish in little sea. It was just so much attention. It was so easy because there was hardly any artists on there. And now I'm like, it's just so unmotivating to now.
It is. Yeah. You're just throwing stuff at the wall and and you see what sticks. Yeah, so the TikTok had definitely catapulted us into the hierarchy of D2C sales. And now our B2B sales are really swinging back. So we're doing the majority of our sales to retailers. We have a business to business platform in which our retailers can log in and have their private store for wholesaling. I have 4 salespeople who are boots on the ground around the US. In each territory, I have a representation on Etsy, although that's not B2B. I have representation on Fair Marketplace. Have you heard of that?
What's that?
Basically, it's like Etsy for retailers. Businesses can log on, retailers can log on, and it's basically an online marketplace for wholesale.
Cool.
That's been a great opportunity for us to spread our wings into domains that we otherwise wouldn't find organically or with our sales teams. That being said, on a distribution platform like Fair, you don't have the ability to really pick and choose what stores you're getting into. So you could get into a gas station or a liquor store or a dispensary, and you don't have the ability to say, no, that's not what I want, how I want my brand to be represented.
So many other hoops to jump through when it comes to, like, you think that creating a sticker, it'll be fun and easy. And then no, there's so much back end to a whole business. Like you're saying, well, you have people with territories. That blows my mind.
Yeah. So it's been really exciting. It's been a wonderful journey. And as an artist, it's been a phenomenal means of having passive income. So that's enabled me to continue my own fine art practice and my murals while having just this baseline of income keeping me afloat.
Awesome. Love that.
So, that's any artist's goal, is to have some sort of passive revenue. So
yep.
I'm very fortunate to have landed on this original idea.
Yeah. So whenever you're designing the designs for the stickers, the first one came from your mural? And then,
Yes. Yeah, I did 4 stickers that were color variations on that mural. And then I started diving into site specific, starting with the national parks. Arches and Mount Rainier were my second and third designs. And that's been a really fun direction. So I definitely seek all of the inspiration for my art from the great outdoors. I love recreating. If I'm not in the studio, I'm definitely tromping through the forest, trail running, slipboarding, mountain biking. I love it. So I just think that my whole business is an ode to nature. So yeah, that's kind of been the source of the inspiration and the designs. So I'm doing national park series. It's been really fun actually getting into the national parks and selling with them. I'm getting commissions from national parks. Kenai Fords in Alaska just did a commission. I have a few others that are under contract right now with other national parks around the US. So it's pretty exciting.
very cool. Okay. So they're commissioning you to make a sticker or to make a mural or both?
To make hydroscape stickers.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you create those on your iPad or you paint them?
Yeah, I use Procreate.
Okay. We are fans of Procreate here.
Oh, it's so dreamy. So dreamy.
It is.
Yeah, I just love, love, love the mobility of a studio. Just not having to, I adore getting messy with Vine charcoal and splattering paint. Like, obviously, who doesn't? But it's really great having the mobility. I just got back from a 4-week-long road trip to the Southwest in which I'm physically sitting in Bryce Canyon, drawing my Bryce Canyon infinity sticker on site on my iPad. So it's pretty stinking cool.
Well, such a blend of what you love to do and what you also love to do, like everything you are. So you're very much leading with what you like and putting it into work. And there's just nothing better than that.
Yeah, creating that equilibrium between business, life, recreation, and community has been my biggest goal in my adult life, just finding that equilibrium and that balance. So I'm glad to have gotten there.
Yeah. And your mural festival also lends to that. Can you talk on that just a little bit?
Yeah. So Paper Whale has just, like everything else that I've talked about, it's just kind of been an organic evolution in which we started out. The gentleman, Nick, who initially contracted me to do that absolutely massive mural, the one that made my career, he and I started what has this year become a nonprofit called Paper Whale. And the whole goal behind this was during COVID, we were sitting back and watching the prices of real estate in our small, cute little artisan town skyrocket. If you're in Bozeman, if you're in Sandpoint, Idaho, if you're in Fort Collins, Colorado, this happened to you. Like COVID blew up these small towns. And as we can all imagine, when money pours into a town, the first people to get priced out are the creators, the makers, the blue collar workers. And we sat back and watched our arts district, which was a 2-block radius of artisans from blacksmiths and woodworkers to traditional photography studios and printmakers. We watched that arts district get torn down and turned into a 6-story condo, luxury condos. And the rug of creativity and just basically the heartbeat of our city from our lens got gutted. And we had 2 options. Option 1 is to sit back and just watch it all get plowed over. Option 2 was to do something about it. And there is no way that we could sit back and watch that happen. So we created Paper Whale Arts as an organization to cultivate and preserve and protect placemaking in our community. So that is from the range of inspiring creative communities, which were definitely in a state of peril during this growth. These communities of creatives that gathered to either collaborate, to just get inspired. That was gone, that was dissipated during COVID. And so we kicked that off by hosting monthly speaker series in which we still bring in inspiring artists who are doing amazing things. And those are now sold out. They're free for the community, but we fill up the room every single time and inspire the people. We basically turned that speaker series into a think tank meets TED Talk. So not only are people listening, but they are actually generating ideas and submitting them to us to implement.
What kind of ideas?
Well, ideas of public art, ranging from public art installations to actual events. So the Mural Festival was one, and our Fire and Story Festival was one. So I can talk about the Mural Festival. But the Fire and Story, we just launched in February, and that was preserving and protecting storytelling and the performance arts. So it was an outdoor festival in the dead of winter in the Northwest, which is awfully crummy. And the whole idea is to get community out there to celebrate the arts. So we commissioned local metal workers to create artistic fire pits, and they went all out. Oh my gosh, these fire pits are amazing. One of them is 10 feet tall and spins. Like, they're insane. Check it out online, Fire and Story. But they created 3 large artistic metal pits, each of which was a stage that we activated. So one of them was called the Song Stage, in which we had musical performances at. Simultaneously was the Lore Stage, in which we had storytelling ranging from indigenous storytellers to local gritty, grimy fishermen telling about shipwrecks. We had poets. We had just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful storytelling. And then the final stage was the Story Stage. It was the Story Fire Pit. And that was performance art ranging from glass blowing to livesmith blacksmithing and dance performance art. So you just hop between each fire and experience this beautiful, unparalleled performance outside in the dead of winter in the storm. There's this wonderful, wonderful local metal worker, Heather Dawn Sparks, and we had her. She makes these massive luminarias. And so we had the entire event lit up by her glowing sculptures. So it was just this wonderful feast for the eyes. It was like straight out of some Bjork insane trippy music video. It was pretty wild. So that's an experience that was submitted by the public at Paper Whale and the Mural Festival. So yeah, we're just really trying to cultivate a creative community and preserve the arts. And I think one more extension of Paper Whale that I'm just so passionate about is the education, well, I guess I should say the representation of Indigenous artwork in our public domain. Because I was looking around Bellingham and not seeing Coast Salish work. We are on the land of the Coast Salish people, the Lummi tribe, the Nooksack tribe. We have these phenomenal Indigenous communities who have the most beautiful, inspiring art forms, and they weren't represented anywhere in our public. We have 2 totems and 1 sculpture that I can think of prior to this in our entire public domain. And so I have really used Paper Whale as a platform to create mentorship opportunities for Coast Salish artists who have the skill set. They know the visual language of their traditions, but they do not know the steps that it takes to pitch a project, to write an RFP, to even have a resume. They don't know that professional language that I had the privilege of learning at art school. I'm the daughter of 2 artists. I learned that from when I was young. So having this opportunity to educate Indigenous artists in how to play the system, how to work the system, how to be quote unquote professional artists, how to make money on your art, how to reproduce it in ways that pay homage to the medium, but also allow you to sustain an income on your artwork. We've really had some inspiring collaborations. Last year was our first mural festival, Noisy Waters Mural Fest, and we launched what is called the Indigiversal Collective. And that was a project that was led by Navajo artist Kaplan Bunce, who's a professional muralist, and he took the project lead. And we gathered 8 artists from 10 tribes, representing 10 tribes all across North America, from the Tlingit to Cherokee. And these artists I would say 6 out of 8 of them had never painted a mural in their life or put up any sort of public art. And they all worked together to create a 10-foot by 175-foot permanent mural. And within that process, they gained the education and the confidence and the experience to put up public art and really feel that significant, profound opportunity that I experienced when I put up my first mural. It's empowering. It's nothing short of empowering. And with that is inspiring. And it's just been really cool. And most of those artists have since put up murals independent of the collective. So
who are you working with this project?
Paper Whale?
Yeah.
Just my collaborator, Nick Hartrick, and I. It's he and I. We're a 2-person team.
Okay. And so you guys and then the mural festival is just you guys too?
Yeah, just us.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a full-time job in Fire and Story, just us. These speaker series, just us. We have since established a board of directors since we became a nonprofit, but that was 2 months ago. So they're all people that we've collaborated with, but we're carrying the weight on our shoulders of all of these projects. And yeah, we haven't made a dime on it. Any money that we have fundraised through grants or sponsorships, we are just pouring into the projects because it's worth it.
Yeah, you are a very busy lady. So
I am very busy.
I appreciate you coming on and telling us all about all the things and the ins and outs of it as well. But yeah, this is just, I could sit and listen to you for a long time, talk about just the passion. You can feel the passion in what you're doing, and you can tell that you love it, and it's very inspiring.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I am insanely busy. I think life would get pretty redundant if I was just doing the stickers, or murals take such a physical toll on you. I remember the first year that I started doing murals, I put up, I think 8 in one summer, and I had a few more experienced muralists saying like, that's a lot, it's going to be too much on you. And by the end of summer, I had so many strains in my back, I couldn't ride a bike for 6 months, which is just like my preferred means of transportation. And it was just like, oh no, like it's physically taxing on your body. So just finding this ability to juggle my stickers, my murals, and the nonprofit have just been this amazing way to just keep me engaged with each one of those projects versus getting burnt out, because burnout is real. Like, I don't care if you are a painter in your dream studio having back-to-back-to-back gallery shows with your passion artwork, you're still going to get burnt out. So I think having that variety has really been beneficial to keep my wheel rolling and to keep it rolling, with momentum. So
I can very much relate to that. I love to do computer work one day and then paint another day and then get out of the studio another day. And it's just, I totally relate to that. But awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all of your stories. I'm going to continue to follow along with your journey, and I'm going to order a sticker right after I get off this interview because I have a nice, beautiful pink water bottle that I use all the time. It has the perfect straw, and I just carry it around everywhere. It doesn't have anything on it. And I want your sticker on it. And it's just going to look great. I'll send you a picture of it.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure getting to meet you and to be on your show. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Artist Academy podcast. I hope you're enjoying this Muralist Month feature with all of the large-scale painting talk. I know I am. But if you are wanting to start dabbling in murals yourself, or you think that you could just use a little help with that, I want to, again, point out all of the freebies that I offer. I just did a video training on how I price my mural projects. So I put out a pricing guide in the past. I have since updated it, and I've attached a video training with examples, like visual examples of projects that I've done with price tags on them. So I share exactly what I painted, what I charged for it. I even share some of the murals that I did early on that I drastically undercharged for. I show you that, and I show you what I would have charged for now, and just how I price things now versus back then. And I basically open up my website and go through photos of like, oh, oh, yep, charged $5K for that one, did this wrong on this one, and you get the whole inside scoop. I share this in the inside of the Artist Academy as I do them. So Artist Academy members, you already have this training and you already see things like this as they're happening. I literally finish a project and then I share it inside of the Academy and say it went really well, or we had this hiccup, or I charged this much and then I profited this much. I spent this much in help. I spent this much in supplies. I share it all in the Artist Academy as I go. So I was like, okay, they really enjoy that. I'm going to take a mini version of that, put it on our training mural pricing guide thing, and you get to get a little snippet of that too. So go to artistacademy.co/pricing, or really better yet, just click the link in this podcast and it'll take you right to the pricing training, and you get to be a snoop and see how I price my stuff. And if you want to get even snoopier, you can also go to artistacademy.co/supply, where you get, you guessed it, my mural supply list with links and everything to all of my mural supplies. So you get to see how I price and you get to see what I use to paint. So 2 big things. Take advantage of it if you're curious at all. So the mural supply list, I also include a video. I take you inside of my art studio and show you exactly what products that I have between the paint and why I use this paint over this other paint. And I show you what it looks like. I show you all the different brushes. I show you my 3 different ladders that I own and why I have 3 ladders and which is best for which project. I go pretty thorough. I show you everything. I even show you how I tote things around so that I don't have to make 10 trips to the car. It's all there. So artistacademy.co/supply. Just go to the show notes of here and you can click the links. But I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and I will catch you on the next one.